Hello, good morning, and welcome to another video. So recently I've been thinking, summer is too long and I'm over it, and I'm ready for it to be fall and spooky season. Currently today is July 24th, so like, we're nowhere near spooky season. So I decided I'm going to take a break of summer. I'm gonna take a week-long break of summer, and I'm going to just have my own spooky season, and then next week I'll go back into summer and I'll like read mermaid books and stuff. For this week, I want to read all these Gillian Flynn books. Like, her books are so... Oh, sorry. Yes? Gillian Flynn books are kind of like dark, and I've read one of her books and I really enjoyed it. So why not spend a week reading these, you know? So I have Dark Places. It follows this girl Libby whose entire family was murdered right in front of her, and her brother was accused of being the murderer. There's like this whole group of people that think her brother was not the murderer, and they go to her as an adult now, because this happened when she was a child, and they go to her as an adult and they try to ask her what her full story is. I don't know too much more. I tried to read this before, and I was reading it as an audiobook while driving far distances, but then I just like wasn't driving far distances anymore, so there's no reason to listen to audiobooks. Well, that was my mindset back then. So I just never really like continued reading it, and it's been so long that I think I could start over from the start and it'll be okay. Next I have Gone Girl. Whenever I hear people recommend Gillian Flynn books, they always recommend Gone Girl, and I don't even know what this is about. I've tried to look it up before, but I kind of would rather not know. Like, there's the copy that I have doesn't even have a description on the back. It's just these like ingenious, terrifying, razor sharp, sinister kind of like quotes from famous people. That's actually kind of bold to not have a description on the back of your book. Like, good for you, Gillian Flynn. And then I have this little novella. I found this at a used bookstore and I didn't even know that she wrote this. So it's called The Grown Up, and the little description is it's like a ghost story, like a haunted house ghost story is kind of what I got from the little description. So this book is 62 pages, like it's not even 100 pages, so I will for sure fly through this. These other two, like, they're just gonna be a fun time, I just know it. All right, see you later. So yesterday I went to Michael's and they had all this Halloween stuff out, and I was so excited and so happy to see it, and I just wanted to like look at everything. I mean, that's not why I went to Michael's, but I saw it while I was there. And part of me is like, no, it's too early, it's July, like let me enjoy my summer. And then the other part of me is like, there's only 96 days left until Halloween. That's practically tomorrow. Anyways, so I finished The Grown Up. This is a 62-page short story, but it's really less than 62 pages because page 1 actually starts like page 7. So this is the first page, and see, it's 7. It's really good. I gave this 4.5 stars. I couldn't give it 5 stars because I have a hard time giving something that's only like 60 pages 5 stars when I won't even give full novels 5 stars. You know what I mean? But yeah, this book is actually very good. I would suggest everybody to read it. I mean, it took me like an hour to read. It's definitely one of those things where you can kind of interpret how you want it to be. So if you want it to be a ghost story, it is. If you want it to be a thriller, it is. If you want it to be like specific types of thrillers, like, oh, the mom is crazy, it is. Or the son is crazy, that's it too. Or the whole thing just didn't even happen and it's a hallucination, that could be it too. Like, there's so many different ways to interpret this, and because of that, I was reading some Goodreads reviews. A lot of people didn't like it because it's so interpretive, but that's kind of one of the things that I did like about it. Like, it could be whatever I want it to be. So moving on to my next book, I'm gonna be reading Gone Girl. I don't actually know what this is about, but I know that it's Gillian Flynn's like most popular book. I'm pretty sure. Excited to start this. So I'm on page 222. I'm like pretty much halfway. I just got to part 2. It's really good. There's so much going on and there's so much deception. Gillian Flynn has a really good way of making you think one thing and then changing your mind like 6 billion different times before she tells you what actually is going on. And I love that about her. Gillian Flynn is very much a detail writer, and details matter to her. So it's almost like you have to pay attention to these small details in order to kind of understand what she's setting up. I think she makes the pacing to how she wants you to feel while you're reading it. There's this one scene, I'm trying not to give any spoilers for this, but there's this one scene that kind of turns into an interrogation. And in the beginning, the pacing is kind of slow and the words are kind of jovial. And then as the scene picks up, it gets more intense, the pacing gets more intense, your heartbeat starts going faster, and it's just so like you're in the book with them. Like, that's what I love so much about her writing. I don't know, I'm loving it so far. All right, so I finished this book, Gone Girl. Honestly, it was so incredibly good. Like, I ended up giving this 5 stars on Goodreads. It's really good. So there are a couple things that I wanted to say about this. One, so you see how thick it is? This is actually over 400 pages. It's like 415 pages, which I didn't think it was when I picked it up. Like, I thought, or 300 maybe? I don't know. Maybe I just don't know enough about books. This book is broken into 3 different parts. I'm not going to give any spoilers, so everything I'm saying right now is not a spoiler. I'm just going to talk about the vibes of the book. I'm not sure if I talked about what this book is about, but this book is about this couple who moves from New York to Missouri, where the husband is originally from, and then the wife goes missing, and then the book is about trying to find her. So in part 1, there's a lot of world building. This is the biggest chunk of the book, and this is where I think the book loses a lot of people, because a lot of people have said things like the book is boring or it's slow paced and stuff like that. And I think it's because in part 1, there's just so much world building and she has to establish the characters and stuff. And so it's also where you start to have theories about what you think happened. And if you're that type of person, I know some people don't like to speculate what happens at the end of mysteries and thrillers and stuff, but this is where I started to speculate, part 1. When I was reading this part, I was like, this is like a good 3.5, 4 stars at this point. And then you get to part 2, and everything you thought you knew is turned on its head. And then I'm like, oh, this book is good. Like, okay, so I guess I didn't know anything of what was actually happening. And then we get to part 3, and it turns you on your head again. Part 3 is the smallest part of the book. That's when you have the, oh, I really like this kind of moment. Well, that's when I had that moment. Again, everybody's going to read this differently. I mean, there's plenty of people on Goodreads who did not enjoy this as much as I did. But I think it was really good, and I'm actually going to try to watch the movie soon, maybe. So, this video is actually taking me a lot longer to make than I originally thought it was going to. I thought it was going to take a week and a half reading these 3 books, and what happened was I read these 2, really enjoyed them, and then life happened, and I'm no longer in the mental space to be reading Gillian Flynn dark thrillers. I mean, like, nothing bad happened, it's just like I need a mental break, you know what I mean? And I think it's important to pay attention to where you are mentally before you pick up a book that you know is going to be dark or whatever. Like, I'm in the mood. I want something light and fluffy and kind of summery. And I know in the beginning of this video, I was like, oh, it's time for Halloween. Like, it's time for October and spooky season and everything. And like, I had a lot of fun doing that like a week ago. But now, like, I'm in the mood for summer. Also, I just found out the indoor pool in my apartment complex just opened, and so like I'm really excited to take these books and to kind of like read by the poolside and just like have fun and enjoy summer. I'll give like a small hint. So this next reading video is going to be themed around mermaid books, and I'm really excited for that. And I mean, if you watched my setting up my bullet journal, you probably already know what books I'm going to be reading, but it's still going to be a fun time, so stick around for that if you want. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!